Hey guys, welcome to another Double Tap on YouTube. I am Stephen Scott.
And I am Shaun Preece. Hello.
Hello, how are you all?
I am great, thank you, Stephen. It's so good to be on YouTube again. I'm
Isn't
loving it here. I'm getting used to it, you know.
I love this little box on the internet. I'm quite happy playing around in here. Okay, so today I want to talk about She Who Shan't Be Named.
Oh,
that was actually harder to say than her name, to be perfectly honest. She Who Shan't Be Named. Lady S is who I'm talking about. She's inside my iPhone. Got the idea yet? Right. So, can't say her name because it'll set it off. I had to make a change to my phone. Because of you, by the way.
Make a change.
Yeah, can't sing on here.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay, I'll take that
We'll be
back.
struck by the copyright police.
What change did you have to make because of me? What have I done?
Well, do you remember this issue we were having with Lady S? Discussing the follow-up mode. I was talking to you about the whole issue where you ask a question and all of a sudden it's just waiting and waiting and waiting for you to continue to talk. And I was like,
yes.
I've got to turn this off. And it turns out you have to go into accessibility to S Lady settings in there, and then you can turn on a feature called Type to Siri, which means that you can no longer use the side button.
Yes.
To enact Lady S. I mean, it's just ridiculous, but all of a sudden the follow-up thing stops working, so that's useful. But
okay.
I can't use the side button anymore. It's just rubbish.
Well, you can use it. It just brings up a keyboard where you type your command to Lady S.
I'd like to go back to my previous point, Your Honour. Rubbish.
Yes, okay. It's not great, I will admit, but I think we should explain what the problem is with follow-up mode. So in follow-up mode...
People can figure this out, can't they?
Which was introduced in iOS 17. It meant that you could interrupt Lady S or continue a conversation with Lady S without having to say the wake word again, which sounds great. And we've had that feature on the Amazon Echo smart speakers for a while. Difference being is that you were able to toggle it on or off. In iOS 17, you can't toggle it on or off.
Yeah, there's no setting for it.
No setting whatsoever. And the problem is that if you're using voiceover or you cough or someone else says something whilst Lady S is giving you an answer to something, it just shuts up and starts listening for your next command. So it meant that you couldn't listen to your messages or emails without it, getting a few sentences in and then just stopping and starting to listen. So yes, that is the way to turn it off or disable it. It's not the greatest, it's a bit clunky, but it works.
And I miss having the side button option. I really do. I mean, I suppose I could turn my action button into that, but then it just feels a bit of a mess, to be honest. Yeah, and it kind of leads, actually in a way it's kind of perfect for her because it's just a mess anyway. The whole thing is a mess.
Wow, that's strong words, Mr. Apple fanboy. Really?
But it is, let's be honest about it. I mean, Lady S has never been the greatest. I mean, she's been good for some things, but not all. And then, on a HomePod, for example, great for telling you the individual members' ages of the Beatles at some point in, recent history. But, that's about it, really. Beyond that, as an assistant, I know there's people out there who disagree with me on this, who find great value out of her, but I've just not found it. And it's not that it's this is the problem in some ways. It's not the capability that's the problem. It's the continual mistakes that are being made. So, the other day I'm trying to call Marco Flallo and it says, you don't have a Marco Polo in your contacts.
I know.
I know I don't, because I asked you to call Marco Flallo. Then she says, wait for it, you don't have a Marco Flallo in your contacts. What would you like to do? And I yelled, FaceTime Marco Flallo. And I said, okay, I'll FaceTime then. What? Yeah. Hang on.
As
5
ever,
seconds
in
ago,
your
there wasn't even
case,
a contact, and now you figured out how to FaceTime? I mean, come on.
Shouting is the answer to everything, particularly in Scottish.
You got it. I don't think we're allowed to play the clip, but there's a clip. You got to look it up. It's Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Be aware of the language on it. But, he's having a bit of an issue with Lady S in the car. It is very amusing and it is very true to life. You should definitely go check that out. But look, I think it kind of leads. I want to move on.
No. I want to pick you up on something. I think Siri was groundbreaking at the time. You remember when it was introduced at WWDC, and there was actually a blind person in the video to explain how useful it could be for sending texts and things. We were all blown away. I think Siri has declined in its capabilities over the years. There's no denying that, and I think I get so frustrated with it. But let's be fair. I mean, it was the first, I think, the first of its kind.
No, you're right. I think it was certainly better. Weirdly, it was better years ago than it is today.
Yes.
And we do forget that. We do forget that because we're so used to what we're dealing with today. You only remember the most recent experiences. And, you're absolutely right. There were so many more things you could do with this back then. Back 5 years ago, it was far more capable of reading, playing voicemails, playing audio messages, reading emails, all that stuff. And now it just seems to struggle with all of that, which is a real pain. Yeah. But it kind of leads us on to our topic today, which is what are we looking for in iOS 18? Because the rumor is that Siri will get huge enhancements. I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned, they should just take the whole apparatus that runs Siri, take it out the back and torch it and start again. That would be the best solution to the problem.
I think that's what they will do.
And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think that the talk of almost replacing the engine in the car is the best analogy I've heard for this, which is that they're going to just take the whole engine out, toss it away, and put this new machine learning system in there. And if the rumors are true, and I really hope this has got to be the year for this, Apple have got to get this right because they're way behind as it is. And Apple's not a company to react in this way. They're not used to this OpenAI world that we're now in, where we're seeing huge advances week in, week out. That's not how Apple work. Apple take time. They like to take their time, but the problem is everybody else is beating them. Okay, Google's having a few problems at the moment with Gemini. Don't ask it to paint a picture of the founding fathers of America. You might get a surprise. That kind of thing. And that's going to be resolved and that'll be fixed, right? But look at Sora from OpenAI, this new text to video tool. Now, there was a video that keeps getting shown online of Will Smith eating spaghetti. Which was like a made-up video a year ago. It was it wasn't a real video, obviously. It's an AI video, but it was absolutely terrible. It's like he's eating spaghetti, but he's putting his whole hand in his mouth, and the spaghetti's getting flung over his shoulder. It's like the way I eat. That was like a real version of me eating, but it was Will Smith. And that video compared to today, where they've kind of done a similar video, is like you would swear it was him. It's so good. And, the improvements in a very short space of time in a year are incredible. Apple need to catch up, right?
I think so. Well, yeah, absolutely they do, yes. But you know what it's like with Apple? It's been said so many times. It's the wait and see. And then they come out with something that's so polished and ahead of everything else. Do we think that could happen now with AI? I would be absolutely amazed if that happened, I must say. But then again, it's Apple. There's always that slim chance that they may come out and say, yeah, we've seen how you've all been doing AI. Now here's the Apple AI. I can see that. That wouldn't surprise me that much, but I think they've maybe have left it a little bit too late. But is that what we want from iOS 18? Is it going to be all about AI? I'm not sure.
I think
AI is everything we're talking about lately, though.
If you believe the rumors, the idea is that it will improve. There'll be a new UI design. There's going to be lots of changes coming up, which will, I guess, usher in these changes. Talk of macOS perhaps next year getting a bit of a redesign. But I think a lot of us are kind of intrigued to see. And that's the thing. We are kind of looking, not so much for just improvements in the AI front, but I think that is definitely the area Apple needs to show its face, or at least show its hand, perhaps is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
I think we all have to remember, though, and this is an important part of this. The reason that Lady S is actually as bad as she is because we don't, Apple doesn't go off and mine for information and, suck in lots of our private data in order to create a better assistant. That is how every other one works. It's about taking your data and creating a better assistant. The Amazon Echo, for example, everything you say is used to enhance it. So if it gets something wrong, it will be able to learn from that. The Apple version, doesn't have that option. It doesn't do that. Now, there's talk that it does to some degree, but it seems to be more on device. And I think this is where Apple...
anonymous.
Well, yeah, it's anonymized. It makes it more difficult to get personal results in a better way or be cleverer in some ways. And I think that, in the background to all of this, I think that it's going to be... Ultimately, a fight is going to erupt, I think, between Apple and the other companies around where the data lives. That's where things are going to change. So Apple, for example, will, I think, do everything on their device. Everything you do will be on device.
I agree. And
all the data will be stored and it will build from there, right? And then when you look at the other companies, they'll be sending off to the cloud, and that data will be anonymized, of course, but that will be used to pick up the slack on everything as a bigger project.
So is that the reason why we're waiting for Apple to make their move into machine learning, into the AI, because of the privacy? Apple almost sets up obstacles in its own way because of its stance on privacy. That's probably actually a good call. It probably is something to do with that. But at the same time, I'm using, we talked about it before, I'm still using that Pi AI, okay? And I'm using that more and more, just asking questions. Just the other day, so I just got the Orbit Reader 20, and I asked it, how do I do a factory reset on an Orbit Reader 20? And, 2 seconds later, it's telling me step-by-step guide.
Yeah.
And the way it's telling me with that amazing, beautiful voice, and, the way I don't have to think about how I'm phrasing it, or if I stumble through my sentence halfway, I don't have to restart. I can just, just correct myself and carry on. And it knows exactly what I'm saying. That is the future. And that is the way to interact with technology, and AI enables that. And I think unless Siri, it's got to be this year. I think it's got to be, or at least mentioned this year at WWDC. Even if it's not rolled out, they've got to give us a glimpse of what's going to happen, because otherwise they may just wait too long.
Do you think there'll be any connection between it and accessibility? Whatever it is?
Oh, well, I would hope so. I mean, just the fact that, giving it more power to understand exactly the context of what you're asking it and understand the commands better, and giving that system-wide integration. So, turn on, I mean, what do we use right now? We both used just before we started recording, turn on Do Not Disturb, for example. But, taking that to the end.
Which it always gets wrong as well, by the way.
Well, yes, I had to say it twice because it's already off.
I know.
Yes.
Could you turn it on, please?
Exactly right. But I think, the voice interface is key to accessibility. And we talked about this before as well on the radio show, about how AI could change the face of not just the Windows or Mac operating system, but assistive tech as well. How we use screen readers. All of it could change, because that understanding of context and natural language is key for getting people to use technology.
And you're seeing that already, right? I mean, just asking for those instructions about the Orbit Writer, that has given you information in a way that is easy for you to understand, deal with, step by step through. That would have taken you going onto the web with a screen reader, going through headings to get to the answer, getting to the search results, getting to the web page, navigating that, accepting the cookies, all that stuff. It just bypasses all of that stuff and just goes, right, here you go, straight to the information. That is where AI can excel, I think, for accessibility. That alone would be amazing, and there's going to be so much more, but that alone is brilliant. And I think we've got that, and that's good. And of course, that's available on our iPhones right now. But I think that Apple themselves could do a heck of a lot. I just hope it doesn't come out as a gimmick. I hope it isn't about just taking, creating images from text. I mean, I just don't get this obsession people have with creating pictures all the time. It's like, what on earth is this going to be used for that isn't in any way purposeful? I don't get it. Is this a blind thing? I just don't get it.
I kind of agree with you, and I always sort of stop listening at that point. But then again, when we were talking about Sora just then, with the text command line, just text commands to generate videos, there are blind people out there that will want to use that and are very excited by the possibility of creating our own images and videos just by telling AI a description of what we're looking for. That could be incredible. How else would we do that without getting someone else involved? We couldn't. So there's another way that AI can actually assist us when it comes to accessible and producing artwork and videos.
I must admit, I can't argue with that one. The video one appeals to me way more than the image thing does. I think partly because the images just doesn't, I don't get it. I'm like, I get it from a creator point of view, or someone who wants to be like a digital artist or whatever. I can understand that, but why would I want to, say, a picture of a dog with a cake on its head? I just don't see the point in that. It's like, okay, I've got the picture now, but so what? What am I going to do with it?
Just for fun. Well, it depends. I mean, Everyone's got their own use case. Maybe I want to create my own funny T-shirt or whatever. Then I want a picture on the front. I have no idea what the use case is, but the fact is that it now becomes something that we can do, which previously we couldn't do without assistance.
Okay, final question. What does Apple, or what happens if Apple doesn't show off its top, machine learning tool this year? What happens there? Because we're at an interesting point. OpenAI moving along, Google moving along, Amazon moving along, Samsung, of course, as well, moving along with this. And every company's sticking AI into absolutely everything. I mean, you'll find a toaster soon with AI in it, if there isn't one already. So,
and you would buy it straight away.
And I'll buy it, absolutely, if it can get my toast just right. But, or it can burn the double tap logo into it, then I'll be, that's the kind of toaster I want.
Oh, cool.
Exactly, right? How cool would that be? I'm creating images. I'm not creating real images. I'm creating toast-based images. Okay, all right, you got me. But, what happens if Apple doesn't pull the trigger on this time round?
Well, quite honestly, it's Apple. Probably nothing. They will get another year of grace and bring it out later on to great applause. I mean, this is Apple. They've got quite a lot of leeway in the tech world, so I think they'll be absolutely fine. I think yes, I do. I do think they'll get away with it for a year. I don't think they should. I really hope that they're working on it purely from an end user, from a customer point of view, because I want Lady S to be better. I want my experience of using the phone to be easier. So I hope we get there. And because of all those AI apps that are out there now, ChatGPT, the PI that I mentioned before, and so many others, we now got a taste of what this could be. And I'm getting annoyed and frustrated with how limiting Lady S is at the moment. But I think, quite honestly, I think Apple could get away with another year.
Wow. Okay. Well, we shall see what happens at WWDC. That is one event. I mean, I must admit, I always look forward to any Apple event, as you well know. But this one could be interesting. There's no way of knowing. Everyone will tell you they've got rumors and they've got inside knowledge. They don't. We only know until actually, when it turns up. But one thing we do know for sure is that whilst this year is being seen in the PC world as the year of AI in PCs, and some manufacturers of smartphones, Android smartphones in particular, are making similar claims about their smartphones, it's important to remember Apple have had this technology, this machine learning capability built into their devices for some amount of years now, more than you'd think. And
yes,
so the capability is there. They are not sitting like, for example, Intel or other companies waiting for NVIDIA to get more GPUs created. They've got all this hardware in their devices now. That's what Apple Silicon, I would believe, was built for. It's built to do this kind of machine learning. And we maybe never realized it at the time, but I think we'll look back and say that was what Silicon was all about. It was creating the capability and the speeds to allow, and the processing actually, to enable us to have the best experience of machine learning on an Apple device. And that will be interesting to watch. So I hope this year I
agree.
And bear in mind as well, one final thought, whatever we see at WWDC this year won't turn up until later in the year. So
yes,
the chances are there'll be a new iPhone that will have, I'm going to predict this, an even faster processor with even more capabilities than ever before that will be built specifically for this function, even though your existing iPhone will also be able to do it.
Going out on a limb there, Stephen Scott.
I know, pushing it.
I predict it will be the best iPhone we've ever made.
Yeah. Bigger, faster, better.
I really hope we see some movement when it comes
to
the voice assistant, because it would just be so exciting. I can't wait, I'll be honest.
What do you think? Comment below. And, of course, email us, feedback@doubletaponair.com. We'll catch you for another YouTube chat soon. Thanks, Shaun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.